are back again. Welcome to Austin's
Sports
Weekend.
This was eventful.
Definitely. We're going to run into some NFL football first. This has been a really eventful week. Welcome again to the Sports Weekend. Thanks again for SevereTV.com for the beautiful studio that we're in here today. But let's jump up into some football. We have already finished
week 3.
We've already finished 3 weeks. So this was a very eventful. There were some milestones this week. So let's go ahead and cover week 3 before we get into week 4. First of all, we had the Giants at the 49ers.
This was
the 49ers are as
good as advertised.
As good as advertised, they are. Yeah.
The Giants didn't target anybody that. Darius Slayton was their best target the entire game.
Yeah, the 49ers defense is for real. I question some of the play calling at the Giants, but honestly, I think that the Giants were just really outmanned. They were outmanned. Their offensive line, their offensive just could not handle the defense that is the 49ers defense. And I do question again, of course, we're Tennessee fans. Got us a couple signed helmets here, a Hendon Hooker and a Saints helmet.
No targets for Jalen Hyatt after having 2 catches for 89 yards.
They were down 21 points the week before and threw a couple of deep passes to Jalen Hyatt and ended up winning the game. He was sort of the spark for the game. I mean, you could say Hyatt was the spark plug that got him rolling that game. This week they targeted Hyatt how many times? None. I don't know. I mean, again, the 49ers probably played the defense to take away everything because the 49ers are that good. But they blew them out a little bit more than what I thought. I thought the Giants might keep it a little closer, but we did pick the 49ers to cover. So that was a pretty good one. Let's go ahead and jump into Sunday's game. Your favorite team is the Panthers. My favorite team is the Cowboys, so we always probably cover those first.
The Panthers got smoke screened by the Seahawks. That 12th man atmosphere is for realsies.
Yeah, and again, your quarterback is injured a little bit.
Dalton didn't play bad.
The offensive line for your Panthers
is still
struggling a little bit.
The false start penalties are just brutal.
Yeah,
we got to fix that.
Yeah, and again, in the atmosphere of the Seahawks, you're going to have some false starts probably. So, but the Seahawks did win by 10 on that one. The surprise of the week was my Cowboys, and you made a great point. I forgot all about it, but the head coach for the Cowboys is
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy, and he has a habit of doing what?
Playing up and down to competition level.
Yeah, so
that's his habit.
They played the and I had forgot all about that. That was actually really, really good. He's a great coach, but he has a tendency to let down whenever he's playing somebody they should beat by 20. And they
I don't know why he has that habit.
I don't know either, but he does have a tendency to do that. They were favored by 12 over the Cardinals, and they lost by 12. That's a 24-point swing.
Joshua Dobbs against the Dan Quinn defense.
It couldn't happen to a better guy. I've know Josh Dobbs a little bit, met him, hung out with him a little bit. He is one of probably the nicest people that you could ever meet. He's
2 straight games and 2 solid performances. This time
he should have beat the Giants the week before.
This time he was rewarded.
Play calling was terrible. This time he was sharp. He was on time. This the head coach's
efficient
first win.
Jonathan Gannon.
And it's also Josh Dobbs'
first career win as a starter.
First career win as a starter also. So congratulations. It stinks that the Cowboys lost, but I'm honestly I'm a little bit proud of Josh Dobbs there. So I'm actually proud for him.
Continue the good work, and you might get that starting job over there.
Hey, if he can continue playing, we'll see. I don't want to crown him yet because the Cardinals
are the Cardinals.
So, but that was a really fun. That was a really fun game for him. He looked sharp. I mean, that last touchdown pass he threw was just somebody in your face, threw it at a slant to somebody dominant. It was a beautiful football play.
Do you know who didn't have fun? The Ravens.
The Ravens didn't have fun. They played the Colts. Now, I've been sort of picking on the Colts because the Colts are the Colts too. They haven't done anything since Peyton Manning left them. Andrew Luck looked really good for a couple of years, but they really haven't done anything since then except for look bad. And I thought they would really look bad this year. I was keeping on picking them. And somehow
They are 2-1.
They're 2-1, and they beat the Ravens in
Baltimore.
And honestly, the Ravens should have won, could have won, but the unthinkable happened. The best kicker in the history of football
Missed a kick.
missed a 61-yard field goal.
Albeit that's not easy to make.
61, I couldn't even throw it 61, so I must let's take it. So I'm not saying that it's there, but Justin Tucker is so good, we expect these 61-yard field goals to be easy for him.
That's how good he is.
Because
how good he is.
He normally makes that kick. So if he would have made that kick, the game would have been over before overtime, but it went into overtime.
This is going to be a theme. Do you know who also didn't have any fun?
Who?
The Titans.
The Titans. No, when they went to the Browns and scored how many points?
Well, they teach you this in elementary school. 1 + 1 is 2 + 1 is 3.
And that's it. 3 points for the entire game.
Do you know what's a bigger joke?
What?
Derrick Henry had 11 carries on the whole
How
game.
Can you not give Derrick Henry more carries than 11?
I kind of thought Todd Downing was back there again.
How many passing yards did Tannehill have for the game?
104.
100.
Just
That's
above a football field.
That's 26 yards a quarter.
And through 3 games,
Not
he has
a drive, a
he
quarter.
has a stat line, Ryan Tannehill, of 1 touchdown to 3 interceptions.
So
Dear heavens. And Deshaun Watson outplayed him by a country mile.
I think it's almost rebuild mode for the Titans, to be honest. They peaked a couple of years ago. And
management tore it down.
Management, their GM at that time, they've changed now. Their GM back then was just horrible. Their defense coordinator wasn't very good either. So, and I think they peaked at the wrong time. I think they peaked with a bad GM and a bad coach. With a bad now the head coach, I think he's great, Vrabel. But I don't think it's going to happen now. Because when the Browns, yes, I said the Browns beat you by 24.
All credit to the Browns. They deserve credit for the win. They played better.
Hey, Kareem Hunt came in, and that
running game got going again.
Got going again. The guy who was behind Chubb before he got injured, I can't think of his name now.
Kareem Hunt.
The other young one, he came in and did
Ford.
really good too. Ford, yeah, he came in and did really good too. So kudos to the Browns. And now we have a what the crap game.
Do you know one of those days when you wake up and you just realize it's not your day?
That's what the Broncos felt at the end of Sunday.
Okay, this embarrassment that we're about to talk about, I don't know if there's any Bronco fans that ever want to step foot in Mile High Stadium, let alone the internet after that game.
And watch this, the Broncos scored 20 but gave up
70 points.
How do you give up 70 points?
The Broncos defense is giving up an average on 3 games, 40 points a ball game.
Now, Miami, other defense is not very good. Normally a Sean Payton defense is a really good defense, but again, this is Sean Payton's first year there. We got to give him a little something. It's going to take him a while to build his team. But dang.
This is not something that you got to – this is something that could demoralize a team.
Yeah.
Miami was scoring at will.
Honestly, I actually saw a video today where they were mic'd up. The Miami players were planning their touchdown celebration before they got the touchdown. They were saying, this time when we go in there, let's do this dance. They were planning it and they were planning the touchdown celebrations before they got the touchdown.
That is
on the field, in the huddle.
Even if it's your first time, even if you're trying to get back into coaching and all that, you can't give up 70 points.
No, everybody is crowning the Dolphins the king of the world right now, and crowning Tua the best quarterback in the league. Let me give you Tua's stats from last year through 3 games. He was 3-0, 8 TDs, 2 interceptions, and he was 72 of 101 for completions. So he's 8 TDs, 2 picks, 72 of 101. This year through 3 games, he is 3-0, 8 TDs, 2 interceptions, 72 of 101.
That's some freaky stuff right there.
His stats are exactly the same, down to the yard, through 3 games this year as the same as 3 games last year. So Tua was handling the Dolphins just as good last year through 3 games as he is this year. So was he the best quarterback of the league last year, too?
Oh,
Or
well,
was-
he is.
I think that there's a better team around him this year.
But when you put up 70 points, that automatically gets the eyeballs popping.
Yeah, like I said, if you're in the huddle and you're not planning the play, you're planning the touchdown celebration. Somebody's going to talk about
The
it.
defense for the Broncos has to change something. After something like that, you got to change something.
I don't know. After 3 games, you
They give up 40 points a game.
You sort of are who you are through 3 games, maybe 4 games. I've always talked about that in the NFL. You have no clue what a team is through the first 3 games because they're filling out who they are. So at the end, somewhere in the 3rd game, 4th game, that's who the team is, and you can't tell who a team is the last 3 games of the year because they're either tanking to get a better draft pick, or they're doing some wild stuff to try to get in that wild card spot or win their division, or they rest players. The first 3 games, it's hard to pick who's going to win. The last 3 games is going to be hardly really hard to pick. But the 4th game through the 13th game, they are who they are. So if the Broncos are still this bad next week, that's who they are.
We're just going to have to keep the eyeballs. There might be some big-time trades if this ship continues to sink.
Yep. Well, let's go ahead and jump up. That's a great game to talk about. Well, let's jump into the next one. We had the Patriots at the Jets. Patriots pulled that one. Wasn't a beautiful game. Patriots won by 5. That's about
And
what
guess what Zach Wilson produces as an NFL quarterback?
how many picks this time did he throw?
0, but he had no touchdowns either.
Well, that's about, hey, at least he didn't throw more to the other guy than he did his own guys this time.
He had 18 of 36 for 157 yards. That's it.
He had a 50% completion percentage. That's terrible. We had the Bills at the Commanders. This was a little bit of a shocker to me. We picked the Bills to win. We picked the Bills to cover the spread, but not by 37-3.
They played like a dominant machine.
The Bills looked like we thought the Bills should look the entire time. The Bills haven't looked that good, but 2 times last year and 1 time this year so far. So is that an anomaly, or did the Bills find themselves in the 3rd game?
Or did the Commanders completely shoot themselves in the foot? I think
don't
it's
know.
the Commanders shooting themselves in the foot.
I think it may be a little combination of both. I think the Bills probably are really, really a good team.
Sam Howell had 4 interceptions in the game.
Ow.
That's a very rough game.
You could say that's shooting yourself in the foot, and you lost 4 toes. Okay, we had the Falcons at the Lions. We called the Lions to pull this one out too. They won by 14, so that was a cover. The Lions again. We picked the Lions to win that.
They're showing potential.
Division. They're showing potential. Again, I'm anxious to see the end of Week 4 because again, we will know who we got at the end of Week 4. We had the Saints at the Packers.
All was going well for New Orleans until one fateful hit to the ground.
That was
Derek Carr's injury.
Yeah, Derek. They were winning 17-0.
And we haven't mentioned his name much on the podcast, but Joe Woods. His defense gave up 18 straight unanswered points to lose the game.
Derek Carr had he had managed the game. It looked pretty good. They were winning by 17 points. He got
down.
injured,
and then the team just
went
flatlined
down, and they didn't score another point, and they gave up 18 and lost the game. I think Derek Carr's a good quarterback, and that sort of proves it a little bit. You're 17-0, and then you're 18-0 without him. So. Hopefully he'll get back and not be too injured.
Yeah, and the Packers trying to build off this positive momentum with Jordan Love.
The Packers have looked good at times and bad at times. So, again, we will really know at the end of this next game. We had the Texans at the Jaguars. This is probably my shocker of the week. The Texans beat the Jaguars by 20.
The Jaguars
in Jacksonville.
The Jaguars aren't looking so hot to start the year.
That's probably, sometimes we have a dumpster fire of the week.
I think that the Broncos defense deserves that, but
the Jacksonville team sort of deserves it too. Last year they were, one of the Super Bowl maybe favorites for the year. They could make it to the playoffs,
and they've struggled.
They can't win a game.
They've struggled to win a football game.
They scored 9 points last week, 17 points this week, and lost by 20 to the Texans.
C.J.
Stroud may be better than what we were giving him credit for. I guess we'll.
C.J. Stroud had 20 of 30 completions for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That is solid. That is a solid game.
And C.J. Stroud has yet to throw an interception in his career.
Again, solid. So he may be able to come in and be an efficient quarterback in his rookie
Would
year.
be a first for the Ohio State.
It calls for good coaching, and then it calls for some good coaching.
It
and
would
then
be a
calls
first
for some good coaching.
Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State quarterbacks have been struggling
In the
to
NFL
say
normally.
the least. They've been struggling. I think at one point they were 0-6 through the start of
C.J.
this
Stroud
season.
trying to break that.
C.J. Stroud broke that. Yeah,
Trying to break it at least.
So, and he seems to be like a good kid. I hope they do good down there. We had the Chargers at the Vikings.
This was just a conundrum of errors,
Yeah,
especially by one Brandon Staley.
that was some of the worst coaching I think I may have ever seen in my entire life.
On 4th and 4 from his own
On
24.
24, not the other side, on his own 24.
He, instead of punting like a reasonable human being would, he decides in his brain genius up here.
To go for it. Why would you go for it on your own 24?
Oh my gosh. And he
didn't
failed.
get it.
And it gave the
Luckily-
Vikings an opportunity to win the game.
The-
His coaching almost
Of
cost
course,
us.
the Vikings won 11 one-score games
They've lost
last
three
year,
straight
and they've lost
one-score
3
games.
straight one-score games this year. So the pendulum has turned. The Vikings, I really think they might be missing somebody.
Possibly.
Now they realized they were missing him, and they picked up Akers from
The Rams.
The Rams. They brought him in this week, but it didn't do any good. He probably didn't know the system yet. So they are suffering from not having their superstar running back, I do believe.
Speaking of another team that's having a terrible year,
Bears at the Chiefs.
the Bears are awful.
The Bears may be the worst team in the league.
They are
The-
unwatchably bad at times.
The quarterback called out the coaching this week.
Justin Fields has regressed, and I pin that mainly on the coaching staff being incompetent. Let's just say that.
Fields looked really good at
Points
Georgia
last year.
and Ohio State. Came into the NFL and has got worse each year. They wanted to, I mean, last year, what? The last 6 games of the season, seven games of the season.
He was
looked
showing potential.
phenomenal.
He was
They-
rushing for so many
They
yards.
turned him loose, let him be the rusher, passer quarterback that he really is, he was
And let
phenomenal.
him go loose.
Over the offseason, they decided, we're going to try to really work on him to make him more of a pocket passer. And this is what you
That's
get.
not his style.
You get 10 points.
I know it's
It's the
against
ba-
Kansas City, but goodness gracious.
That was just terrible. Anyway, let's go.
But hold on. The Chiefs performed well, but not only that, but Taylor Swift also performed well too.
Oh, all the Kansas City fans are Swifties now.
Yep.
Lord of mercy.
Taylor Swift showed more energy than the entire Bears team.
Yeah. Yes, you did. We had the Steelers at the Raiders.
Speaking of incompetence, Josh McDaniels.
He made some good calls too, didn't he?
Do you mean bad?
Oh, tell me. Now what? They were down by how many points?
8 points.
Okay.
They were down by 8 points,
So
23 to 15.
They were down 23-15. Had the ball inside
Inside the
Steelers
Steelers'
territory.
10. Inside their 10-yard
the
line.
10 on 4th down. How much time was left?
2 minutes and 23 seconds left in the game. Now, previously, the Steelers got called for a penalty. They were going for a field goal. A field goal. And then the second time around, they go on a 4th and 4. You need to get 4 yards to at least have an attempt to tie the ball game up. Down by 8 points.
There was 2 minutes and some odd left, and they were down 8 points, and they decided to kick a field goal instead of going for it.
And Josh
You're down
McDaniels.
8 points. Now 8 points is one score. It's a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. What was Josh McDaniels' reason for kicking a field goal?
They were down by multiple possessions.
How is he a coach?
How can you not know this? And do you know what his last possession before that was? He scored 8 points.
Yeah.
And then he kicked a field goal and said we were down by multiple possessions.
Yeah.
hold on, everybody. Josh McDaniels is the true math wizard here.
I don't know what was going on there, but that was, again, some terrible coaching.
Why is Josh McDaniels the head coach of the Raiders?
I don't know, but
that was the coaching lowlight of the year.
That was one of that one and going for it on 4th and 4 from your own 24 by.
That's why the Chiefs win the division every year.
That's why the Chiefs win the division. Monday night we had 2 games again. We had the Eagles at the Bucks. We had that one picked.
I was waiting for Todd Bowles to show himself.
The Bucks have looked pretty good. I'm not going to say that the Bucks have looked pretty good, but just like we said last week, we're not going to put the Bucks in the same category as the Eagles yet. And the Eagles won by 14 and proved that the Bucks aren't quite that good yet. The Bucks still look good,
but I feel like Todd Bowles might still be a problem on the head coaching position when it comes to decision making.
Possibility. We'll see as the time goes here. And then our last Monday night game, we had the Rams at the Bengals, and the Bengals won 19-16.
A win they needed.
Yeah, Burrow, he's still dealing with that calf injury, and it's got to be more than what they're saying, because he's having a really hard time pushing off and passing and aiming. But he's pushing through it. Hopefully each week he'll get a little bit better, because they've got, we both believe, one of the best teams in the NFL this year. Just injuries are hammering them a little bit right now. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our Week 4 predictions. We've got some good ones this week. We got a divisional rivalry Thursday night. Lions at the Packers.
That'll be a good one, but you better hope that you have the Prime service.
I'm still picking the Lions over the Packers. I think the Lions are going to win the division.
Back 10 years ago, you would have been crazy 10 years ago if you said that.
10 years ago, they were 0-16. I think they've got a good, solid team now.
Okay.
And I picked them. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl.
I sympathize with any fan base that goes 0-16.
Yeah. I've got a soft spot for the Lions because Mr. Hendon Hooker plays for them there now. But I still think he's not on the active roster yet. But I still think the Lions.
I also like military man Dan Campbell.
He is. I'm gonna eat some dirt and shovel. Yeah, he's great. Starting on Sunday, we'll go over our 2 favorite teams. We got the Vikings at the Panthers. I think the Vikings might pull out there. I mean, I love your Panthers,
but we're rebuilding.
They're young and they need an offensive line. Excuse me.
I think that's an understatement.
Yeah, I think the Vikings win this. Vikings were favored before. I think they actually win this. The Vikings need this win, honestly, more than the Panthers do. The Vikings are not rebuilding. This is
they're
what they
built
got.
to contend.
So they're 0-3.
They're built to contend, and they're 0-3.
0-3. There's been 5 teams since 1990 make the playoffs that started out 0-3. 5.
If you want to win, you better start now.
0-4. I don't think there's been any teams to make the playoffs. So you win now, or you can just go.
Unless you had Peyton Manning and Jerry Rice.
Yeah. We got the. Let's see here. We got the Patriots at the Cowboys. The Cowboys.
Patriots are a competent team,
but the Cowboys bounce up and down. The Cowboys
they bounce up and down like a pogo stick.
Since they were down last week, they'll be up this week. They'll probably beat the Patriots by 2 touchdowns or more. The line's 7, but I'll go ahead and take the Cowboys minus 7 on that. We got the Falcons at the Jaguars. This is the international series. This is our game overseas. That will be 9:30 a.m.
Got to spread your influence.
I'm okay with going over to Germany and playing some games, and going over to England and playing some games. I'm okay with that.
We happen to know
It
someone
does change.
from over in England.
Oh yeah, we've got some friends over in England. So howdy. Yeah, Falcons, Jaguars. I think they were expecting the Jaguars to be a whole lot better whenever they schedule this.
I want to bet on the Falcons here because they ride the running game.
The Jaguars are favored by 3, and I think the running game will carry overseas because there's going to be some jet lag, some tiredness.
The Falcons like to reinvent their identity, and their identity is running the ball now.
Yeah, so we will take the Falcons plus 3 on that. We got the Dolphins at the Bills. Oh, my.
After what the Dolphins did last week.
And after what the Bills did?
That's going to be must-see television.
That is must-see TV.
If the Dolphins score 50 on the Bills, which that's a completely far-fetched idea, I know.
The Bills have got a pretty good defense, too.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Bills are favored by 2.5. I'll probably have to go with the Bills. The Bills at home, this is the Bills division until the Dolphins take it away.
Yep.
Now, the Dolphins may go in there and win. I'm not taking anything away from the Dolphins. Right now, the Dolphins probably are.
They're steaming
the best,
hot.
They are the best AFC team.
At least they're the hottest right now.
Yeah, they are. They are the hottest team. But until they take it away from the Bills, I'm going to have to take the Bills. We got the Broncos at the Bears.
This is possibly.
This is must not see TV. I mean, I don't even know if the players are going to watch this game.
I don't know if the fans are either.
Denver's favored by 3.5, and honestly, I would probably take Denver.
You know, it's
the Bears
bad.
Are just.
You know, it's bad when we favor a defense that gave up 70 points in a football game over the Bears.
Over the Bears at Chicago. That's how
that
bad,
shows
that's
you
how
how bad the
Chicago
Bears
is.
are.
Yeah, I think the Broncos might be really embarrassed, and they might work a little harder this week. And I think Chicago is imploding, to be honest. Imploding. Whenever the quarterback calls
I
out
think
the
think
coaching.
the towers are falling.
Yeah. Now, this is a really good one. We got the Ravens at the Browns. The Ravens, I don't know, they tried to make the Ravens a passing team over the offseason, and it's not working very good.
Not working as good as you would expect. No.
No. The only really good plays the Ravens had last week was whenever the play broke down and Lamar ran. That was their best plays last week. I'm serious. That was really their best
yeah,
play.
that's the best running game. That's the best passing game right there.
And the Browns, I think, have the number 3 ranked defense right now. So I'm going to pick the Browns to beat the Ravens.
3-1 start. Do you think
3-1 start.
Deshaun
I think
Watson
it's
will
my-
not handicap them that much?
The one thing that might make the Browns lose is Deshaun Watson. I do not trust Deshaun Watson. I'm not going to put all my eggs in his basket. No. But the defense for the Browns is good.
It's pretty
And the
good. It's only
running
allowed
game-
1 touchdown in 3 games. I mean,
You can allow 1 touchdown in 3 games, and then you come in with a Ravens struggling offense.
that's going to be some potential juicy ribs, you know.
Cleveland's favored by 3.
If the Ravens
I'm
lose,
comfortable with that.
possibly the building might come
Yeah.
down there.
And this is an interesting one here. We got the Steelers at the Texans.
Texans showing potential, Steelers showing potential.
I'd probably still have to take the Steelers right now.
They have more of established
Yeah.
coaching, more established players.
Houston is a feel-good story right now. They're sort of coming into their own a little bit. Won a game last week, but I don't know how much of a win over Jacksonville it is whenever Jacksonville's looking that bad. Pittsburgh's had pretty good. They're not. I don't think Pittsburgh's winning the Super Bowl this year unless they get better. But they're a pretty good team.
The one thing that Pittsburgh fans really criticize to the point where they get a star from a TV show to criticize the coordinator,
Yeah.
offensive coordinator Matt Canada.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, they
criticized
were-
him so much that they sent a star from Breaking Bad, of all places, to criticize his play calling.
Yeah, that was funny. Jumping on down, we got the Rams at the Colts.
I think the Rams get this one and rebound.
I think the Rams get this one. I don't know by how many points. The line's even on it. We got the Bucks at the Saints.
This is a bounce back bet game for somebody.
I would probably if Carr's playing, I take New Orleans.
If he's not,
If
Tampa.
he's not, I got Tampa. We got the Commanders at the Eagles.
Eagles.
The Eagles are starting to come into their own. Again, this game will tell us how good the Eagles are. If they come into this game and win 30-10,
Then they're back to the old
then
Eagles
they're
of
back
last
to the
year.
Eagles. This is one of my favorite games of the week. Bengals at the Titans. I'm taking the Bengals.
You're taking the Bengals.
Well, the
The
Titans
Titans-
scored 3 points last week. They scored 3 points. I'm not going to take the
They
Titans.
scored less
3
points than the Bears.
Gosh, that's right. Bengals by 50. We got the Raiders at the Chargers.
This
This is the worst 2 head coaches playing against each other. Who's going to coach the worst in this game?
I don't know. We got a coach that can't count to 8, and we got a coach that can't figure out basic in-game decisions.
I'm probably going to take the Chargers just because of talent.
But don't be surprised if Brandon Staley pulls a Brandon Staley at 1 point
Yeah.
in the game.
We got the Cardinals at the 49ers. And not because the Cardinals are bad, because the 49ers are good. The 49ers are favored by 14. I'm not for sure if that's
Plausible.
Honestly, I'm going to go Cardinals plus 14, although the 49ers might do it. Their defense is so good. And then we got the Chiefs at the Jets, the Chiefs by 50.
I'm sorry for Al, Big Al, and his
Yeah.
Jets.
Yeah.
They've went through
Go
one of
snake
the
bet.
roughest years I can remember a Jets team ever having.
Yeah.
In a long, actually in the past 5 years. I mean, that team has just been.
Kansas City's favored by 9.5, basically 10. I'll be comfortable with that. This is probably another 41-10 game. And our last game of Week 4, Monday Night Football. There's only one game this week. We got the Manning cast coming back. It's the Seahawks at the Giants.
I got the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks continue the rise with Geno.
See, this is an even pick. I got the Giants.
You got the Giants.
I think the Giants, I don't know if the Giants lose 2 in a row. And if they could just throw the ball to Hyatt one time over top, I think it'll pull the safeties back and you can run the ball.
I think the Seahawks
And
defense
Broncos
is
can run the ball.
better than is not nearly as good
Yeah.
actually than the 49ers
Yeah.
was.
So if they could pull those safeties and those linebackers back a little bit, I think the Giants could win. But that's it. That is NFL football, Week 3, Week 4. We hope you had a little fun with us. It's getting into the juicy part of the season now. Week 4 is going to be fantastic. We get to see who's really out there.
And who's not.
Yeah, we I hope you had a little fun with us. Be sure and check us out. Thanks again for SevereTV.com for the studio here. Thanks again for Autographs Plus. They got 2 stores, one in Sevierville, one in Pigeon Forge, for supplying some helmets for us here too. Other than that, we'll see you next week for more NFL football.
See you next week.